The movie. Everyone seems to be hyped for the movie. Well, I for one, after years of learning from video game industry, have continued to kill any hype or excitement that arises in me whenever something new appears. And learning from Equestria girls, the movie will be shit. Or at the very best, subpar. So, was I right? Let's start with my own experience. It was Friday, somewhere in the midday, and the first showing of the movie was scheduled. To my surprise, apparently in Latvia there aren't that many MLP fans to go and see the very first showing of the movie. Kinda sad and somewhat weird, cause I was the only male among like 15 other younger and older gals. Presumably sisters and mothers to the little brats. Thinking nothing much of it, I sat down on pretty much empty theater and prepared to just relax for the next hour and a half. Then, I remembered, this will also be Latvian dubbed version. Oh, fuck me. To give you context, our voice actors are all pretty much theater people who are called in for the job, and we got about 5 people for this. 3 females and 2 males. Mostly, at least. And being theater people, they either overreact everything or don't even bother. And for this movie, even though they try to speak at the same time characters did in the movie to mimic their mouth movements, translations were just horrible, and our voice actors' ability to change voices, well, it's comparable to bathtub filled with diarrhea. And that is to say, it's shit. But okay, you can't change your voice. Fine, at the very least, get the nuances of the character speech right, like breaths, little moans, and things like that. Nope, apparently that's not in their job list as well. So what the fuck? Possibly the worst moment came when this scene happened. While translations were horrendous, when voice actors for Pinky did the laugh, I think we both died inside a little. It was so shockingly bad, I was amazed. Oh, and speaking of audio, it seems that whoever was in charge in the post-process for dubbed voices forgot that there's this thing called reverb effect. So the sound was completely flat in the places where it should not have been. Oh, and better yet, I wanted to later go and watch the original version of the movie, but nope, none of my local theaters play the original. So either I have to actually pirate the fucking movie or travel to a different country to see the original. Cause guess what? Netflix and other services like that are not available in this shithole. So in short, I guess my local theaters just hate money, cause I would have loved to pay for another viewing of the original. So that's the Latvian life. Fuck me. But you know what, enough on my horrible viewing experience. Here are some notes about the movie. Before going in and watching the movie, I had the feeling that there will be a lot of things going on, and for the amount of running time, it won't be enough. So most things will feel rushed. And I was right! Still, everyone was so excited about the new Toon Boom animation, and let me say, they tried. See, they added 3D objects in the movie, and though they are harder to spot than in typical anime, it's still very noticeable, especially in this scene. Seriously, characters are running so fast, yet they are not moving. That was the most awkward moment. Yet other times 3D objects are used really well, and that's the thing. As some background items, they work really well, but if you're not Disney or Pixar, don't use 2D animation and 3D animation together. It very rarely works out well. Better yet, I love the opening shot of the movie. I call these shots, look what we can do now! These are nothing but animators swinging their dicks about and showing off. But even with all the new big cool stuff, I noticed this one little detail. The reflection bit in character eyes move with the eyes themselves. A big no-no for artists there. Seriously, that was distracting for me at the start. And speaking of details, is this wall of prophecies or just random stuff? Cause there are multiple instances of one icon, but only few with derpy. What? But okay, enough on the visuals. They're okay. I personally prefer flash animation like in the show, as it feels more rigid and real than the floppy Toon Boom ones. So now, on to the characters. I'll go over them one by one, so let's start with the princesses. Cadence, seeing her actually do something while the False God and Luna do nothing just surprised me. Seriously, it's out of character for all three. Rarity, only there for the comic relief, and seriously, she did a pretty decent job at it. Dash, completed it, but never mind that, again returning to the visuals. I was surprised that animators, writers, well, all of them decided to waste the Sonic Rainbow for such a meaningless moment. Seriously. I think of Sonic Rainbow as this grand, amazing thing in the pony world, but having it being wasted for nothing? Well, aside from being a glorified signal flare is just super baffling. Then moving on to Applejack, who really did nothing of importance. Pinkie Pie? Worse than Dash. Seriously, this moment. Can anyone explain me what the fuck were the dumb horse thinking? Fluttershy. Completely useless, worthless, and just like with Cadence, I'm afraid to even use the word character in the movie. Seriously, take her out and nothing changes. She wasn't even used for cute moments aside from the end fight, and even there I think writers just felt sorry for her, so they tossed her a bone. Grubber, pointless shoehorn. I honestly can't stand this character. But being the comic sidekick, he also ruins the tone of any scene he's in, except for this one. The Storm King. Oh boy, not only he's the second murder victim in the show's history, but he also lacked any sort of character. He's just bad for badness sake, and okay, he works for this because he's really not the focus of the movie. He's just a background detail for Tempest's and Main Six's adventure, and to that end, he works. The whole pirate parrot gang. I don't know. They look like well fleshed out characters with potential, but due to the fact that there is not enough time for anything in this movie, they have absolutely no purpose aside from being the meat shield for the final battle. Sad because I like the captain and the crew, but alas, they be useless. And speaking of useless, hippogriffs, another bunch of nature's mistakes that I have a feeling that they were put in the movie just so pirates would make more sense and they could capitalize on toys for this mermaid slash sea pony shtick. Yes, I'm being cynical, but how could you not? When Main Six goes to their place, they don't want to help because reasons. So writers invent, or in this case, force Twilight to do something to give hippogriffs an excuse to not help. So to avoid being called dicks for not helping without a reason. Well, too bad. I'm calling every hippogriff a dick in the form of a nature's mistake from now on. And speaking of Twilight, what the actual fuck happened? I get it that they try to play Twilight's obsessive, forget the right from wrong attitude when she's stressed, but stealing from other nation? No, just no, I'm not accepting this bullshit. So by lore, the movie takes place between season 7 and 8. At this point, Twilight had learned the lesson of both not interfering with other nation in this degree and way, as well as that fucking stealing and using your best friends as distraction is really bad. And all this had to happen to give Hippogriff dicks an excuse to not help. This is just insulting writing right there. A sincere fuck you from me to anyone who participated in writing this movie's plot and especially that moment. So then, moving on to Tempest. Yes, I'm ignoring her real name for a multitude of reasons, first being the fact that they crammed 4 words in there. Seriously, couldn't you think of any more convoluted name? But anyways, Tempest was the second best character, and no, I'm not saying that because I love the edgy characters and am a villain myself. Although Tempest's background was rather plain and very simple, it was reasonable and worked pretty well for what she had become. Also, it shows that unicorns are dicks too, but by this point, it's nothing new. Anyhow, Tempest was a joy to watch, and her voice actress is also a badass, so pretty much everything about her was enjoyable. Oh, and of course, the cherry on top was the song. Hers was the best in the movie. Sorry, Sia, I mean Songbird and Capper, you were both in the second place there. But as for Capper as a character, he probably was the best in the whole movie. Both the change of the heart as well as the whole vibe he gives off was wonderful to say the least. If only they just had got rid of the slang lines and stuck to a proper dialogue, he would have been undisputed best character. But nope, because we need more of the urban market. He speaks like them kids, yo! And actually the same thing goes with Grubber.
Oh, fish Flashman just got dropped!
Oh, and also, Antros. Why the fuck do we get Antro furries for the show now? The allure of My Little Pony stems from the fact that there are all these real and mythical creatures that are actually basically animals. And that's what I love about the show's aesthetic. But nope, we need Antros. Fuck that. Oh, and there was this best, most horrifying moment in the whole movie. If you just think about it. Spike was used as a literal prop and nothing more. Also, he was used to burn enemies to death. Is this still a kids movie that I'm watching? Cause I love this part. More murdering of henchmen. Yes. So, yeah, as for conclusion, my viewing experience was garbage, the movie had too many things crammed into it. Seriously, just get rid of pirates and hippogriffs, and you get more time to focus on actual characters. But nope, we need to sell merch. Hippogriffs are dicks, Antros are invading the pony world, and we got the second and possibly the third death in the show's history as well. But out of all that, I'd love to see Tempest in this show. Still, as is, the movie was just meh in general. Certainly better than the first Equestria Girls movie. But to end on a high note, Derpy is now a guardian angel. Damn, thank you.